A U.S. Navy destroyer is far more than a warship. It's a floating home for more than 300 sailors. For months at a time, they eat, sleep, shower, and work without setting foot on land, all while remaining ready for any mission. Life at sea is demanding, space is limited, and every day brings new challenges. So, how do these crews stay healthy, motivated, and mission ready in one of the toughest environments on Earth? Let's step aboard and discover what life is really like on a U.S. Navy destroyer. Imagine waking up in a room no bigger than a walk-in closet, surrounded by dozens of other sailors. The air hums with machinery that never stops. The deck beneath your feet gently rolls with the ocean. Outside, you're hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles from the nearest land. There are no weekends, no days off, no stepping outside for fresh air, no driving home after work. For the next 6 to 9 months, this steel warship is your entire world. Yet somehow, more than 300 sailors don't just survive aboard a U.S. Navy destroyer, they thrive. Every day, they're fed, clothed, trained, and prepared for combat while living in one of the most demanding environments imaginable. But how? How do hundreds of people eat 3 meals a day without running out of food? Where do they shower? How do they sleep in such cramped conditions? How do they stay clean, healthy, and mentally strong during months at sea with no escape? Today, we're taking you deep inside life aboard a U.S. Navy destroyer to uncover what everyday life is really like for the sailors who keep America's most powerful warships operating around the clock. Because behind every missile launch, every radar screen, and every successful mission are ordinary people living extraordinary lives. At first glance, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer looks like a machine built for one purpose: combat. Its missile launchers, advanced radar systems, naval guns, and electronic warfare equipment dominate the ship's silhouette, but beneath the steel decks lies something many people never consider: a floating community. A modern destroyer typically carries around 300 to 330 sailors, depending on the specific variant and mission. Every one of them must eat, sleep, shower, work, exercise, and live aboard the ship for months at a time. Unlike an aircraft carrier, where thousands of personnel allow for specialized facilities, destroyers operate with limited space. Every square meter matters. Weapons compete with living quarters. Fuel tanks compete with storage rooms. Engineering spaces compete with dining areas. Nothing aboard exists unless it's absolutely necessary. That means comfort often takes a backseat to functionality. The crew quickly adapts. Most enlisted sailors sleep in shared berthing compartments. These rooms are lined with stacked bunks, typically 3 high with narrow aisles between them. Each sailor receives a small mattress, a privacy curtain, a reading light, and a personal storage locker just large enough for uniforms, toiletries, and a few personal belongings. There isn't room for much else. Privacy becomes a luxury. Noise becomes normal. Engines vibrate constantly. Ventilation system hum day and night. Announcements echo through passageways over the ship's loudspeaker system. New sailors often struggle to sleep during their first weeks on board. Veterans hardly notice. Life aboard follows a strict rhythm. The ship never sleeps. Operations continue 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Instead of a normal workday, sailors rotate through watch schedules that ensure every critical station remains staffed around the clock. Some stand watch on the bridge, others monitor radar in the Combat Information Center. Engineers oversee propulsion systems. Damage control teams remain prepared for emergencies. Even while many sailors are sleeping, hundreds of others are working. This constant cycle keeps the destroyer ready for anything from humanitarian missions to high-intensity combat. Despite the demanding routine, the crew develops an unusually strong sense of teamwork. Everyone depends on one another. A cook preparing breakfast contributes just as much to mission readiness as the sailor operating sophisticated radar equipment. The electrician maintaining power systems is just as essential as the weapons technician servicing missile launchers. Every job matters. Because aboard a destroyer, there's no such thing as an unimportant sailor. And nowhere is that teamwork more obvious than in one place every crew member visits at least 3 times a day: the galley. If there's one place that never stays quiet aboard a destroyer, it's the galley. 3 times a day, it becomes one of the busiest spaces on the ship, serving hundreds of hungry sailors who may have just finished a midnight watch, completed maintenance in the engine room, or spent hours on the bridge navigating through rough seas. Keeping a destroyer crew well fed isn't just about comfort, it's about combat readiness. A sailor who's exhausted, dehydrated, or underfed is far more likely to make mistakes. That's why the U.S. Navy places tremendous importance on nutrition during deployments. Meals are prepared by Navy culinary specialists, highly trained professionals responsible for planning menus, managing food inventories, and cooking for the entire crew. Unlike a restaurant where customers arrive throughout the day, destroyer galleys must prepare hundreds of meals within relatively short serving windows while ensuring food safety in constantly moving conditions. Imagine trying to cook breakfast for over 300 people while the kitchen floor tilts beneath your feet. Every pan, knife, and cooking pot must be secured. Ovens have locking doors. Preparation tables include raised edges to stop food from sliding away during rough seas. Even something as simple as carrying a tray becomes surprisingly difficult when the ship suddenly rolls to one side. Despite these challenges, the menu is often far more varied than many people expect. Breakfast may include scrambled eggs, bacon or sausage, hash browns, oatmeal, pancakes, cereal, yogurt, fruit, and fresh coffee. Lunch and dinner usually feature multiple entree choices: grilled chicken, roast beef, pasta, rice, vegetables, soup, fresh salad whenever supplies allow. Desserts such as cake, cookies, brownies, or ice cream frequently appear as well. Sailors performing physically demanding jobs consume thousands of calories every day, making balanced meals an important part of maintaining operational effectiveness. Of course, fresh ingredients don't last forever. Before deployment, the ship takes aboard enormous quantities of food. Refrigerated storage rooms are packed with fresh produce, dairy products, eggs, and meat. Freezers hold frozen vegetables, poultry, seafood, and prepared meals. Dry storage compartments contain rice, pasta, flour, canned goods, spices, cereal, powdered milk, snacks, and countless other essentials. Every available storage area is carefully organized because space is extremely limited. Food supplies are constantly monitored. Nothing is wasted if it can be avoided. During the first weeks of deployment, sailors usually enjoy the widest selection of fresh fruits and vegetables. As time passes, fresh produce gradually becomes less available, and frozen or preserved alternatives play a larger role in daily meals. This isn't unique to destroyers. It's a challenge shared by virtually every Navy operating far from shore. Fortunately, destroyers rarely spend an entire deployment completely isolated. One of the most impressive logistical operations in naval history helps keep them supplied. It's called underway replenishment, often shortened to UNREP. During an UNREP, a supply ship sails alongside the destroyer while both vessels continue moving through the ocean at roughly the same speed. The ships may be separated by only 100 to 150 feet. Heavy cables are stretched between them. Using these lines, pallets loaded with food, spare parts, mail, and other supplies are transferred across open water. Fuel hoses may also be connected so the destroyer can refill its tanks without ever entering port. Watching two massive ships maintain precise formation while transferring tons of cargo is one of the most impressive demonstrations of seamanship in the modern Navy. These replenishments allow destroyers to remain deployed for extended periods without returning to shore. Not everyone eats in the same location. Enlisted sailors usually dine in the crew's mess, while officers eat in the wardroom. Although the seating arrangements differ, the food itself is generally very similar. The captain and senior officers don't receive extravagant gourmet meals. In most cases, everyone benefits from the same galley and culinary team. Meals also provide something equally valuable, a chance to reconnect. Even if only for 20 minutes, sailors catch up with friends, share stories, laugh about the day's events, or simply enjoy a brief break before returning to work. These moments help strengthen morale during long deployments where routines can otherwise become exhausting. Yet eating is only one part of daily life. Once the meal is finished, another challenge awaits: staying clean. On a ship carrying hundreds of people, fresh water is one of the most carefully managed resources aboard. And every shower reminds sailors that, at sea, even the simplest comforts must be earned.
A Navy shower.
So Navy shower, whenever we're running low on water, it's got to be fast, quick, and in a hurry. So we turn on the water real quick, rinse off maybe 5 seconds, and then...
Fresh water is something most people rarely think about. Turn on a faucet and it's there. But aboard a destroyer operating thousands of miles from land, every drop matters. Fortunately, modern U.S. Navy destroyers don't rely solely on the water they leave port with. Instead, they produce much of their own fresh water directly from the ocean. Using reverse osmosis desalination systems, seawater is processed through specialized filtration equipment that removes salt and impurities. The resulting fresh water is used for drinking, cooking, showers, laundry, and many other daily needs. Even so, fresh water isn't unlimited. The ship's engineering department constantly monitors production and consumption to ensure supplies remain sufficient throughout the deployment. If equipment requires maintenance or weather conditions reduce production, water conservation becomes a priority. That's why sailors quickly learn that long, relaxing showers simply aren't part of life at sea. While there is no Navy-wide rule limiting every shower to a specific number of minutes, crews are encouraged to shower efficiently, especially during periods when water production is reduced. Many experienced sailors joke that they've mastered the Navy shower. Turn the water on, get wet, turn it off while applying soap and shampoo, turn it back on to rinse. The routine becomes second nature. On most destroyers, enlisted sailors share communal shower facilities located near their berthing compartments. The facilities are clean, functional, and maintained daily, but privacy is naturally limited compared to civilian life. The captain and some senior officers usually have private or semi-private bathroom facilities attached to their cabins, but everyone aboard understands that conserving water benefits the entire crew. Laundry follows a similar philosophy. Destroyers include dedicated laundry rooms equipped with industrial-sized washers and dryers capable of handling hundreds of uniforms every week. Depending on the ship's schedule, sailors either wash their own clothing or use shipboard laundry services for certain items. Uniforms become dirty quickly. Grease from engineering spaces, salt from sea spray, paint during maintenance, dust from helicopters. Every department faces different working conditions, but everyone depends on clean uniforms to maintain professionalism and hygiene. Another common myth about destroyer life involves sleeping arrangements. Many people have heard of hot racking, where sailors working opposite shifts share the same bunk. While this practice has existed on some submarines and certain smaller naval vessels, it is not standard practice aboard modern Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. Instead, each sailor is assigned their own rack or bunk for the duration of the deployment. Although small, these bunks become highly personal spaces. Privacy curtains allow sailors to block out light and create a small sense of personal space. Many decorate the inside with family photographs, patches, books, or small personal items. For a few hours each day, that narrow bunk becomes home. Sleep itself, however, is another challenge. Because destroyers operate around the clock, sailors rarely follow the same schedule every day. Many rotate through watches that divide the day and night into different duty periods. A sailor might stand watch from midnight until 4 in the morning, sleep for several hours, work during the afternoon, then return for another evening assignment. Adjusting to these schedules requires discipline. Experienced sailors become remarkably good at falling asleep whenever the opportunity arises. One unexpected advantage of destroyer life is the constant background noise. The steady hum of ventilation systems, engines, generators, and machinery becomes surprisingly comforting after a few weeks. Many veterans later admit they actually struggle to sleep in complete silence once they return home. Of course, life at sea isn't always calm. Storms remind everyone just how powerful the ocean can be. When rough weather arrives, the destroyer pitches and rolls dramatically. Walking through passageways requires holding onto handrails. Sleeping becomes difficult as the ship rocks beneath the crew. Meals become more challenging to prepare and serve. Loose equipment must be secured. Flight operations may be suspended. Even experienced sailors occasionally suffer from seasickness, particularly early in their careers. Yet destroyers are designed to withstand extraordinary conditions. Their crews train constantly to operate safely even when nature refuses to cooperate. After a while, the movement becomes part of everyday life. The ship rolls, the crew adapts, because aboard a destroyer, routine doesn't stop simply because the sea becomes rough. But perhaps the greatest challenge isn't physical at all. It's psychological. Months away from family, long working hours, limited personal space, no true escape from the workplace. So how do sailors maintain their morale? Surprisingly, it's often the smallest moments that matter most.
Ship life is really interesting, challenging, but it's really rewarding.
For all the sophisticated technology aboard a U.S. Navy destroyer, one of the crew's greatest challenges isn't mechanical. It's staying mentally strong. Months away from home can test even the most experienced sailors. Birthdays are missed, anniversaries pass, children grow up while parents are deployed halfway around the world. Friends and family continue with everyday life while the crew lives according to a completely different rhythm dictated by watches, drills, and operations. Fortunately, today's sailors have far more opportunities to communicate than previous generations. Most modern destroyers have limited email capability, allowing crews to exchange messages with loved ones whenever operational conditions permit. Internet access is generally restricted and often unavailable for personal browsing, but even a simple email can make a tremendous difference during a long deployment. Sometimes the ship also receives mail during underway replenishments or port visits. A package from home containing favorite snacks, photographs, handwritten letters, or small personal items can instantly lift morale throughout an entire berthing compartment. Those reminders of home become priceless after weeks or months at sea. Downtime is equally important. Although work schedules remain demanding, sailors are encouraged to use whatever free time they have to recharge. Many ships include a small gym equipped with treadmills, rowing machines, stationary bicycles, free weights, and resistance equipment. Exercise isn't just about staying fit. It's also one of the best ways to reduce stress, improve sleep, and maintain mental health during deployment. Finding room for a workout aboard a destroyer isn't always easy, but sailors quickly learn to make the most of the available space. Entertainment is surprisingly simple. When operations allow, crews often watch movies together in common areas, organize video game tournaments, read books, study for advancement exams, or simply gather to talk. Some sailors learn new skills during deployments, taking online Navy education courses whenever connectivity allows, or preparing for future qualifications that will advance their careers. Others spend quiet moments standing on the weather decks after sunset. Far from city lights, the night sky over the open ocean is breathtaking. Thousands of stars stretch from horizon to horizon, creating a view few people on land ever experience. For many sailors, those peaceful moments become lasting memories. Yet, no matter how enjoyable the quiet moments may be, training never truly stops. Damage control drills remain constant. Firefighting exercises, flooding scenarios, medical emergencies, man overboard recoveries, chemical defense procedures. Every sailor practices these skills repeatedly because experience has shown that preparation saves lives. A destroyer at sea cannot simply call the fire department or wait for outside assistance. The crew must solve every emergency themselves. That's why teamwork becomes the defining characteristic of life aboard ship. Rank certainly matters, experience matters, training matters, but when an emergency occurs, everyone works together toward the same goal. The newest sailor may be passing firefighting equipment. A seasoned chief petty officer may coordinate repairs. Officers direct the overall response. Every individual contributes. That shared responsibility creates friendships unlike almost any found ashore. Many veterans say the people, not the ports, not the missions, and not even the technology, are what they remember most. Years after leaving the Navy, they still remember the sailors who stood beside them during long watches, rough storms, and exhausting deployments. Those bonds are forged through shared hardship. They're difficult to explain to someone who has never lived at sea. So, how do destroyer crews really eat, shower, and cope for months away from home? They eat meals prepared by hardworking culinary specialists who keep hundreds of sailors fueled every day. They shower efficiently using fresh water produced directly from the ocean. They sleep in compact berthing spaces where privacy is limited but camaraderie is abundant. They work around the clock to keep one of the world's most advanced warships operating safely. And perhaps most importantly, they rely on each other because while missiles, radar systems, engines, and advanced computers may make a destroyer powerful, it's the crew that gives the ship its true strength. Behind every successful deployment are hundreds of sailors making countless sacrifices that most people never see. Long hours, missed holidays, limited comforts, constant responsibility, yet they continue serving because they understand the importance of the mission. Every patrol protects vital sea lanes. Every escort mission helps safeguard Allied forces. Every humanitarian operation delivers assistance where it's needed most. Every deployment contributes to stability far beyond the horizon. The next time you see a U.S. Navy destroyer slicing through the waves, remember this. Beneath the towering radar arrays and powerful missile launchers is a community of sailors living, working, and supporting one another every hour of every day. Their world may be built from steel, but it's held together by teamwork, discipline, and resilience. And that's what truly keeps a destroyer ready for whatever lies beyond the horizon. Life aboard a U.S. Navy destroyer isn't defined by luxury. It's defined by discipline, resilience, and teamwork. For months at a time, hundreds of sailors live in tight quarters, share limited space, work around the clock, and remain ready to respond to any mission at a moment's notice. Every meal they eat, every gallon of fresh water they use, and every hour of sleep they get is carefully managed to keep the ship and its crew operating at peak readiness. Yet despite the long deployments, demanding schedules, and sacrifices of life at sea, these men and women continue to serve with remarkable professionalism and dedication. The next time you see a U.S. Navy destroyer cutting through the waves, remember that beneath its powerful radar, advanced missiles, and towering superstructure is something even more important, a crew that keeps the ship alive. Because in the end, it's not just the technology that makes a destroyer one of the world's most formidable warships. It's the people who call it home. If you enjoyed this behind the scenes look at life aboard a U.S. Navy destroyer, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments what aspect of naval life you'd like us to explore next. Until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.